Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today. Sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we are talking Too Hot to Handle Season 5 and episodes 8, 9, and 10 dropped, you guys, the other day, and I was underwhelmed. I was underwhelmed because I felt the first batch of episodes really started the season off with a bang. I was actually praising it in my review for the first couple of episodes, and then it just took a nosedive, you guys. It just took a nosedive because it went back to the same old as the other seasons of Too Hot to Handle do, right? So basically, we leave off with Louie lying to Christine about whether or not he did anything inappropriate with Eliza. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, or Liz, whatever her name is. I'm so sorry. Whatever happened on the date, basically. Omitted that he touched her boobs, right? Omitted that, anything inappropriate happened, right? And so basically, Lewis's grand plan was to keep Christine and the new bombshell separate from each other. So therefore, they couldn't interact and she couldn't spill the beans of what really happened on the date, right? But nonetheless, it's a villa. Everybody's going to talk. And so she had already told Courtney what was up and what happened. And so Courtney was like, woman to woman, we are going to go to Christine and let her know what happened. And I was like, oh, here we go. And then somewhere in the middle of the night, Dre kissed this new bombshell, even though she said she was not attracted to him, and even though he felt the vibe that she was not attracted to him, he decided to kiss her because of his own ego of seeing her on a date with Louie, right? Who was like one of the top guys in the villa that everybody was attracted to, right? And so then from there, he ghosted her after. And basically admitted that he grew up as a guy who was kind of considered the ugly duckling. Once he glowed up and started working out is when he basically just started to have all of this meaningless hookups with women and then would dispose of them and ghost them to boost his ego, right? So we had a couple of workshops to where the men are like releasing, their insecurities and all these things. And here's the thing, you guys. And then there was like declarations at the end, but there just was not a lot of content in these last couple of episodes. There technically was only two couples, which was Louie and Christine. So Christine eventually, of course, finds out that Louie touched this other lady's boobs on their date. And so she's checked out as far as like, what the heck. And so Louie is trying to explain to her that, he has issues with, letting people in because he had almost lost his mom to cancer. And so therefore he likes to self-sabotage before things get too real. And Christine was like, that's great, but you need to prove to me that you're actually interested and you're actually serious because you're, 20 years old? Like, I don't believe you. So she sleeps in a different bed. Away from Louie that night because she's just had it. Like, she's just over it because she is like, I tried to put my trust in you and ultimately I got played. I got played in my face. And then we had Elise and Adam together, which was like interesting because I still felt like we really aren't getting anywhere in their connection in terms of seeing their true story unfold, but all we know is they like each other, and Elise seemed to be the one that really wanted the commitment. She's up here asking Adam to be her boyfriend and all of these things, but then it got to a point where Lana saw that, Adam and Luis were just going through the motions, right? They were just going through the motions to get to the end of the show. And basically Lana was like, listen, if you do not want to follow the rules of the retreat, we can send you home right now for $25K. We will give you each $25K to get out of this villa and leave your partners alone for stringing them along. And so they both decide to stay in the villa, and so she put in the caveat that they wouldn't be eligible for the prize money that was now sitting at $100,000. And ultimately they decided to stay, even though technically they ended up lying about that too, right? Lying about whether or not they were actually eligible. And then we had an elimination, right? We had an elimination, and we should have eliminated way more people because there was not any other couples, right? So what ended up happening was Anna, was full on exploring this crush with Isaac, right? She was like getting, all giddy because of her cheetah outfit, convinced Isaac to do the surprise unthinkable and leave his next couple to hang out with Hannah, right? And so, except for there's nothing of substance there other than they are just sexually attracted to each other, right? So basically Lana put in something that was like, listen, if these people do not have any meaningful conversations the rest of the day, if these people do not have anything of substance to talk about, there's going to be consequences. And I was like, uh-oh. I was like, they're probably going to get out of here. So nonetheless, she calls everybody into the cabana and basically does an immediate elimination of Isaac and Hannah. And I was like, listen, y'all got to go. Y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta get the bleep up out of here. You're not following my rules. You're not doing X, Y, and Z. They, of course, pretended to be upset at first, but then in their confessionals were happy to hook up with each other. So there was that. But I just felt, overall, like it was just a waste of time, right? So nonetheless, we had 2 final dates because there's only 2 couples in the villa in which the goal was for them to commit. Obviously, they did not. So that's what led to Lana, having them have a come to Jesus meeting and offering the $25K in the first place. And even still after that, I still didn't feel really nothing was resolved. It kind of just felt like Christine and Louie said, what's understood doesn't need to be explained. And although Elise is the one that asked Adam to be, her man, her boyfriend, her boo, it just still was feeling like he was still on the fence, right? So I felt that those dates were a waste of time, but they both got the green light to kiss each other or whatever. Then from there, Lana's like, yeah, we've got like some good candidates as far as, who could be candidates to win the prize money. And so she narrowed it down to only 2 people, and I was very perplexed because I felt that Christine should have been in the running. And so she narrowed it down to Elise and Dre. Dre, though, he really hasn't had much of a romantic journey on the show other than he was basically the cop. He was the cop of the show, and usually the cop of the show does not win, right? Usually it's the people who spend the most money doing foolishness, but then eventually, quote-unquote, get it together and then realize that the emotional and mental connection and spiritual connection is more important than the physical one, right? So we only had Dre and Elise, and once that was announced, I was like, yeah, Elise is probably gonna win the money, because even though they like Dre, I don't think they're gonna vote for him to win, right? Even though he has said repeatedly in any confessional that exists this season that he needs the money, that he has all of these siblings and all of these relatives and things to take care of, and that he would do a lot with the money, right? So basically the episode just kind of dragged because it was, everybody voting and all of these things, and then they set up for like a night party, and it's like, it was just dragging and dragging and dragging. And so ultimately we find out, like I said, Elise is, spoiler alert, the winner. Ultimately, she decides to split the money with Dre, which I thought was a nice gesture. So they each will get $50K to leave the villa and everything else, and there it is, right? And so of course Lana's like, okay, everything's over. You guys can take off your watches. None of my rules apply anymore. So then Louie and Christine kiss and all of the things, and also what happens as well is Elise and her man kiss, because that was the only 2 couples that were in the villa. Rumor has it, spoiler alert, is that none of these couples are still together, right? They're all in LA this weekend, I presume filming a reunion of some sort, right? We saw that Christine and Louise has unfollowed each other, so they're not together. And then it was already revealed, because Elise revealed in an interview already, that she was been broken up with Adam, and that they dated for 6 months, but ultimately they broke up because of distance, which I presume is the same reason that Christine and Louise broke up, even though they technically were not really officially together, because she lives in the US and he lives across the pond in the UK. So it was not going to make any sense unless somebody was going to move, right? So I'm not surprised. We will see what happens. It looks like there's some drama because everybody's supposed to go out to dinner as the cast, and some people were like, thanks, but no thanks. I think Christine and Courtney are over this cast because they're probably seeing a lot of things play back that has them feeling a certain type of way, or some of the confessionals that they're saying about some of each other that they feel a certain type of way, or people are just flat out being messy, right? But nonetheless, that was that in a nutshell. And I just don't know what we need to do from here on out with Too Hot to Handle. I mean, the whole proverbial pretending that it's another reality show, and then you tell them, oh, surprise, here comes the Lana cone for Too Hot to Handle, and everyone does like a terrible acting job of like, oh my gosh, it's too hot to handle. No. We need something better than that. They did up the prize money, but it still ultimately ended up being all for naught, right? So I think the prize money needs to go up again. I think also there needs to be a focus of actual couples in the villa. This whole thing where we're just going to make 1 to 2 couples the focus of the show, even though Isaac basically fumbled his couple with Courtney, that was his fault. Ultimately, we need more than 2 couples to focus on for 10 episodes, right? Because it just drags. And then you just have all of these other people in the villa who are furniture, you guys. Like, what was the point of bringing in bombshells if nobody was actually going to bombshell the right way and secure a connection, you guys? It was a waste of time. We never got to see what happened ultimately with the aftermath of Courtney's connections. If, you know, she ever pursued anything with anyone else in the villa. We never got to see if anybody else in there pursued anything in the villa. The Channing Tatum lookalike guy, he had 0 screen time once he got into the villa. And what was the point? We really needed to send all these other people home, but you keep them in the villa for the simple fact that you need them to vote for whoever you decide the finalists are going to be. But the backside of that is you have no purpose for them, right? Outside of the little to no screen time they're going to get in the workshops and the little to no screen time that they will get in the proverbial, you know, going to bed scene, right? Of who's going to sleep with who and whose bed and all of that. But outside of that, it was only focused in, like I said, on 4 people, right? On Louie and Christine and Elise and her guy Adam, and then Dre being like, you know, the cop, right? The cop that is, you know, policing everything. But we need something else. We need something else to revamp Too Hot to Handle, because this season had potential to, you know, be better than season 2, because season 2 is the best season still. And then it just took a nosedive. It took a nosedive the last couple of rounds of episodes because it just dragged. It just dragged because you cannot, even though, you know, Christine and Louise, their main characters, the whole purpose when you're assembling a cast on these reality shows is that you expect everybody in the cast to deliver. And the problem was nobody else in the cast was delivering except for Elise and Dre. So it was just a waste of a spot for all of these other people because either production edited out all of their storylines or they were not giving any storylines, right? So we just need to kind of recircle back and really re-enter the wheel as far as what are we going to do? What are we going to do from here? Because pretty much once people realize, you know, that they're going on a dating reality show for Netflix and they know it's not The Ultimatum, they know it's not Love is Blind, there's really only one, and they know it's not The Circle. There's only other one, even though The Circle's not really a dating show, but there's only one that everybody knows, and that is Too Hot to Handle, right? So it's like you have an idea of where you're going, right? But then you sell this false narrative that it's something else, right? But everybody knows, oh, we're on a beach, we see a villa, oh, we're probably on Too Hot to Handle, right? Like everybody knows. So there's no mystery anymore after 5 seasons. Really, there's no mystery after the first season. And we just need a more dynamic cast that's going to give, right? That is going to give. We still have not found anybody who is on the level of Melinda Melrose that is just delivering content and messiness and drama all season and entertainment. We need that type of casting. And for some reason, we are not getting it, right? But those are just some tips that I have as far as we need to revamp this show. We need to focus and generate this show, revamp it. We need more improvements because it is just way too predictable, right? It is just way too predictable. Somebody always ends up winning the prize money that broke rules. None of the people who actually were on their best behavior the whole time actually win. So it's just a waste, right? It's just a waste, and people become furniture because you only focus on 1 to 2 couples, right? So there is that. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again.